If you guys have heard of PEMF therapy, I have definitely seen it around a lot on other people's social media, so people obviously do use it, but I didn't know much about it before I went to France. And Lauren has a MagnaWave machine, and it just kind of changed my life a little bit, not gonna lie. I think the horses turned inside out since I started using it on them. So yeah, had a bit of a good delivery last week, so I'll talk to you guys about that as soon as I get the horses in. Alright guys, so I have the horses in now. There's Cal and here's Dali. I'm going to start with Dali today. So as I was saying, when I went to France with the boys, I stayed at Lauren's yard. So Lauren's a physiotherapist and has a master's in chiropractic. Like, she is a smart lady. So she has one of these MagnaWave machines, and I had never used one before, never even heard of it, didn't understand what it was, to be honest, but she swore by it and used it on all her horses and used it on the horses that she would then treat, like as a physio. So I said, of course, I'll give anything a shot. And obviously this is a case study of 2, and this is total anecdotal evidence, but I just saw such a huge change in the horses. And like, they're just so much more comfortable. Like, especially Cal, he often is a little bit tight in his back, and like, we've tried different saddles, everything. Like, Lauren was treating him, and even before I went to France, like, I had physios out to him all the time, and he was just always a little bit tight. Like, it was never that bad, but it was never quite 100%. And this is the only thing that has properly improved that. And yeah, I was so happy with it. And even just when you put it on, how relaxed they get into this like zone, and then I ride them afterwards and they're so relaxed. And it's like they've already warmed up. Like, I think for a cold backed horse it would be so beneficial. I really was really impressed. So when I came back to Ireland, I was also a little bit upset to be leaving the machine behind. So I'm absolutely not ashamed to say that I reached out to MagnaWave and asked if they would be interested in doing some sort of partnership, because I needed a machine. I was just completely sold on it. So they have very kindly sent me a machine to try. They're saying try, but I've been trying it for the last 3 months, guys. I know I like it. So yeah, really pleased. So I'll get the machine out and I'm going to start on Dali, and then I'll just explain what it is, because honestly I wasn't really sure. So this is the machine itself. As you can see, it's pretty small. So there's a few different types that you can get. This is a semi-10 and it is almost pocket-sized. So you plug in the coils into here and then you turn it on, and then you can set your strength and a timer basically, and then you start. It is pretty simple to use, I'm not going to lie. And then here is one of the coils. So I'll explain this in just a minute, that you put on the horse. So MagnaWave is one of the strongest commercially available PEMF machines. So some of you guys might have heard of PEMF or used it on yourself and your horse, but basically it stands for a pulsed electromagnetic field. And what it does is you place the coil on the horse and it sends a pulsed wave of electromagnetic energy into the horse where you've placed the coil. And this then acts on the tissue at the level of the cell. It's able to penetrate into all tissues, so that's skin, muscle, bone, everything. And it promotes cell metabolism, cell healing, it improves blood flow and reduces inflammation. It's actually FDA approved for non-union fractures, which is pretty big claim. Well, not claim. When things are FDA approved, it's pretty solid, to be honest. And it's also FDA approved for the treatment of depression and anxiety. So you best know I'm going to be putting that on my head. And yeah, so I did some of my own independent research, because I'm nothing if not suspicious of everything. But basically I found like there is a lot of good evidence out there, especially with regards to the bone healing. It really does improve bone healing. There is double-blinded proper test studies on that. And And there's also a lot of studies with soft tissue, things like rotator cuff injuries, ligaments, tendons. A lot of it is in rats because they're the test dummies, unfortunately. There isn't a huge amount in horses, but they are taking what they see in rats and applying it to humans. And I think that we can do the same with regards to horses. There are some studies with horses, but a lot of them are using it in conjunction with like a chiropractic treatment like McTimony. So it still saw good improvement, but it just wasn't only MagnaWave. But basically when you buy the MagnaWave, you get access to their training course, which is very extensive. I looked at it last week and luckily I was able to skip over some parts because it was a lot of like, it goes through all the anatomy of the cell, you know, a lot of science. And I have done that in uni for veterinary, so I gave myself a pass on that and moved on to more the applications of the machine. But yeah, when you buy it, really anyone can use this, especially once you've done the training. It's not very invasive. I feel like you can't go too wrong with it, but they do kind of go through any horses that might be more at risk, horses not to use it on, etc. And yeah, I feel like you're pretty safe to buy it and go, to be honest. So Tally has been waiting very patiently here, but I will go and set it up now and show you guys. Basically, in France, we used it every day before we rode. You can use it every day. It's fine. Okay, so I just do it in their stable before I tack them up. Good boy, Tally. He's like, why is it not on, Holly? So I just pop it on his back. These horses have obviously had it a million times. So they're well used to it. If you have a horse that's their first time, you should introduce it kind of slowly because it can give them a fright. So you just turn it on with the machine here. You can set the timer. I do 5 minutes in each spot, so I'll put that down to 5. And then the mode, put the power. You'll see, I'll put it on a small setting and then you can see what I mean. So that's it now. So each click is sending a pulse. So as you can see, there's this movement here. And then you can turn it up if you want. So it'll do less pulses but at a higher power. So you can see quite a strong reaction there. So I just leave it running there. I do their back, their hindquarters and their neck just as an everyday thing. And then if there's any specific niggly points, then I have a smaller coil that you can use. It's only like that size my head probably, that you can put in just specific areas. Like, you know, if you have a horse with sore hocks or something like that, then they can just go on their hocks. So handy. Like, it takes 20 minutes. I just groom them and tack them up while it's on. Like, I'll groom them and then I'll put it on his hindquarters, pop the saddle on, put it on his neck, pop the bridle on, and then, you know, ready to go. It doesn't, you know, it's not awkward. It's so small. Yeah, it just very easily fits into just a daily routine. I also find it's just kind of nice bonding time because they always really enjoy it. And then they get quite relaxed and you're grooming them, and then, I don't know, I just feel like they enjoy it and they enjoy spending the time with you then. But anyway, I'm going to finish doing him, get tacked up, and then head and jump that grid. Charlie always goes into a bit of a trance. Quite enjoys it. Hey, what are you doing? So it's now Cal's turn. See it there working on his back. So yeah, as I was saying, usually when people get PEMF therapy done on their horses, you know, you'll call out someone and you'll get it done once every so often. For example, after a big show, after a big workout. I found that, say, a lot of the times when I went to the gallops in France, they would work really hard and use muscles that they've never really used before. And without doing the MagnaWave afterwards, you know, the next day, they would be very stiff. But with the MagnaWave, you know, you're getting that blood flow going back to the muscles, you're taking away all that lactic acid. They're a lot more comfortable and a lot suppler after a big workout when you do this. So yeah, a lot of people will just do it every so often, like a chin scratch. or if they have a horse with a specific injury, like in the hock, stifle, tendon, ligament injury, etc. But by having the Magnawave machine on the yard, they can just get it every day. You know, you're catching all these little micro injuries so much sooner, and you're just maintaining them as opposed to trying to treat a problem. You're trying to prevent the problem, really. So yeah, and even say the thoroughbreds, just when I was talking about galloping, like the thoroughbreds have huge benefits from it. Lauren treated a lot of thoroughbreds, and one of the trainers, he just couldn't get over the improvement in the horse, like, and he actually bought a machine for the yard because he said it's just, yeah, he just saw such improvement. So yeah, if you guys are interested in the Magnawave machine, I will leave the link to the website in the description. So I'm dealing with the European agent, but even if you're not in Europe, if you contact him, he'll be able to set you up with someone, because it is worldwide. You know, I think it's really big in America as well, and definitely up and coming in Europe now. And yeah, there's a 3-year warranty on the machine. It's very easy and simple, as you can see. It's just working away behind me. The horses probably need a little bit getting used to. Cal didn't care about it at all. Dali was afraid of it because of just the noise and the sensation, but as you can see, once he realized it felt so good, he was very happy to stand for it. So yeah, I hope you find it interesting. I found all the research really interesting, so we were both learning in this video. So yeah, I'm going to finish out with Cal and then ride him, and then I'll show you how he gets on with the jumping in the grid. Cal's going to sleep. Says, I love this Magnawave, thank you. Also, just out of interest, look how much reaction there is on his left side compared to a lot less on his right side. It extends the whole way down his shoulder on the left. It's just really interesting to see little things like that. Like you can see maybe one side of the horse is more sore than the other, because that contraction that you see, that's what happens when the magnetic wave hits resistance. So you see more resistance in, you know, tighter muscles. Then you can see the difference. It's really interesting. I couldn't show you on their hindquarters because they were pretty even, but sometimes we do see like one side of the hindquarters is like crazy and the other one isn't moving at all, because horses can be one-sided. It's normal, like we are too. So yeah, it's just really interesting.